วัสดีค่ะ
สวัสดีครับ
Good morning everyone and welcome to Meditation for Peace broadcast every Sunday morning on the DMC channel. This program shares with you many wonderful stories that you may not have heard before about yourselves that will help you to create inner quality. Today, Mr. Narpon Santra Gunsari and I, Shannon Pandotsan, will guide you through the program.
From birth to death, we want to be the best that we can be, not only for our children or parents, but also to help them become the best they can be. How can we do this?
Do you want my point of view?
Sure, Shana. I would love to hear your idea.
Well, first we have to believe that we as human beings have particular characteristics that differ from other living things.
And what are those characteristic differences?
Firstly, our minds can reach a higher quality than they currently do. Secondly, we can rid ourselves of the negative influences. And lastly, we can achieve a higher state of purity. If we seriously concentrate on attracting goodness to us, we will become happier individuals who will be powerful magnets to like-minded individuals.
That sounds interesting. You mean we need to correct ourselves by eliminating certain behaviors which are unwholesome.
These behaviors are greed, anger, and ignorance. But before we delve into that, we would like to invite our audience to meditate together with the most venerable Pratapavana Visuddha Lungpa Thammachayo, the abbot of Wat Prathamakaya.
Through his meditation technique known as Vichartamakaya, you will be able to train your mind to come to a standstill until it becomes clear, pure, and radiant, ready for penetration into the truth of life that lies within you.
That is how meditation enables us to be firm in righteousness and the right view, which is the important key to eradicate unwholesome behaviors. Now let's grab a cushion and be in a comfortable position. Anyway, don't forget to maintain your mind at the center while listening to the Abbot's transmission.
We will be back to see you in a little while.
.ต่อจากนี้ไปให้ตั้งใจให้แน่แน่วมุ่งตรงต่อหนทางพระนิพพานกันทุกๆคนนะลูกนะหลับตาของเราเบาๆพอสบายๆคล้ายกับตอนที่เราใกล้จะหลับอย่าไปบีบเปลือกตาอย่ากดลูกในตานะจ๊ะหลับตาสักข้อลูกไม่ถึงกับปิดสนิทนะจ๊ะพอสบายแล้วก็ทำใจของเรานะให้เบิกบานให้แจ่มชื่นให้สะอาดบริสุทธิ์ผ่องใสไร้กังวลในทุกสิ่งไม่ว่าจะเป็นเรื่องอะไรก็ตามให้ปลดให้ปล่อยให้วางให้ปลดให้ปล่อยให้วางให้คลายความผูกพันจากทุกสิ่งทำใจของเรานะให้ว่างว่างเปล่าจากความคิดทั้งหลายทั้งหมดนะจ๊ะปล่อยวางหมดทิ้งทุกอย่างวางทุกสิ่งเพราะว่าสรรพสัตว์และสรรพสิ่งทั้งหลายเมื่อเกิดขึ้นตั้งอยู่แล้วก็ไปสู่จุดสลายเสื่อมไปด้วยกันหมดทั้งสิ้นจะเป็นคนเป็นสัตว์เป็นสิ่งของตึกรามบ้านช่องแม้แต่โลกใบนี้ก็ต้องเสื่อมสลายไปเพราะฉะนั้นสังขารร่างกายของเราก็จะเป็นเช่นนั้นแหละให้นึกถึงความเป็นจริงของสรรพสัตว์และสรรพสิ่งอย่างนี้ใจจะได้ปล่อยวางได้ แล้วก็มาระลึกนึกถึงว่าเป้าหมายของการมาเกิดเป็นมนุษย์นั้นนะวัตถุประสงค์หลักก็คือจะมาทำพระนิพพานให้แจ้งสลัดตนให้พ้นจากกองทุกข์อย่างน้อยก็มาแสวงบุญ มาสร้างบารมีเพื่อจะเอาบุญต่อบุญเอาบารมีต่อบารมีเนี่ยให้กลั่นกายวาจาใจเราให้สะอาดบริสุทธิ์จนกระทั่งหลุดพ้นจากกิเลสอาสวะทั้งหลายพ้นจากการเวียนว่ายแต่เกิดโดยเฉพาะหมู่คณะของเรามุ่งไปสู่ที่สุดแห่งธรรมนี่คือวัตถุประสงค์หลักของชีวิตนอกนั้นก็เป็นเรื่องรองลงมาต้องจับหลักของชีวิตให้ได้เมื่อเรามีบุญวาสนาได้เกิดอยู่ในร่มเงาของพระพุทธศาสนาอย่างนี้เนี่ยเราก็จะต้องศึกษาคำสอนพระสัมมาสัมพุทธเจ้าและก็ปฏิบัติตามคำสอนนั้นเพื่อจะได้เดินตามรอยของพระสัมมาสัมพุทธเจ้าในที่สุดก็จะหลุดพ้นจากความทุกข์ทรมานของชีวิตเข้าถึงความสุขอันเป็นอมตะได้เช่นเดียวกับพระสัมมาสัมพุทธเจ้าและพระอรหันต์ทั้งหลายนะจ๊ะเพราะวัตถุประสงค์ต้องการให้ใจมาหยุดมานิ่งอยู่ที่ศูนย์กลางกายฐานที่7เพราะหยุดเป็นตัวสำเร็จที่จะทำให้เราได้พบต้นทางสายกลางภายในซึ่งจะนำเราไปสู่พระรัตนตรัยได้เข้าถึงพระรัตนตรัยได้เข้าถึงพุทธรัตนะธรรมรัตนะสังฆรัตนะหรือก็ถึงพระธรรมกายในตัวจะเป็นกายตรัสรู้ธรรมเป็นผู้รู้ผู้ตื่นผู้เบิกบานแล้วสมบูรณ์ไปด้วยจักขุญาณปัญญาวิชชาและก็แสงสว่างเป็นอุปกรณ์ในการศึกษาเรื่องราวความเป็นจริงของชีวิตและก็เป็นทั้งสรณะที่พึ่งที่ระลึกที่แท้จริงของตัวเราและก็จะได้อาศัยพระธรรมกายนี่แหละนำไปสู่อายตนะนิพพานหลุดพ้นจากกิเลสอาสวะไปสู่อายตนะนิพพานเพราะนั้นต้นทางที่จะเข้าถึงพระรัตนตรัยเมื่อใจหยุดนิ่งนั้นมันจะเป็นดวงใสๆคล้ายกับดวงแก้วที่เราสมมุติต่างแต่ว่ามันจะเป็นดวงที่สุขใสกว่าและนำมาถึงความสุขอย่างที่ไม่มีประมาณเป็นความสุขที่เราหาไม่ได้จากที่อื่นเหมือนได้รับการยืนยันจากผู้ที่ได้เข้าถึงนั่นแหละไม่ว่าจะเป็นชาติไหนศาสนาไหนภาษาใดเผ่าพันธุ์ใดเมื่อฝึกใจหยุดนิ่งซึ่งเป็นของสากลที่ทุกคนทำได้พอหยุดนิ่งเข้าถึงดวงใสแล้วเนี่ยก็มักจะพูดเหมือนกันอย่างกับถอดเทปกันมาหรือไปนัดแนะกันมาพูดทั้งที่อยู่กันคนละทวีปคนละประเทศแล้วก็ต่างความเชื่อด้วยว่าเป็นความสุขที่ยิ่งใหญ่ไม่มีประมาณไม่อาจจะหาจากที่ไหนได้ไม่เคยเจอพูดไม่ออกบอกไม่ถูกทีเดียว ดวงธรรมดวงนี้จะมาพร้อมกับความสุขอย่างนี้จะเป็นพระเป็นเณรเป็นญาติโยมสาธุชนหรือทุกคนในโลกถ้าได้ตรงนี้แล้วก็มั่นใจได้เลยว่าจะเข้าถึงพระรัตนตรัยในตัวถ้ารักษาดวงธรรมดวงนี้ไว้ก็ปิดอบายไปสวรรค์เพราะว่าใจผ่องใสไม่เศร้าหมองเป็นดวงใสใจจะหยุดนิ่งต่อไปเองถึงตรงนั้นเราก็มีหน้าที่ดูไปเฉยๆดูปรากฏการณ์ที่เกิดขึ้นมาด้วยใจที่เป็นปกติเหมือนเราไปดูภาพยนตร์ที่เราไม่รู้ว่าตอนต่อไปจะเป็นอย่างไรหรือเรื่องราวต่อไปจะเป็นอย่างไรเราก็ดูอย่างเดียวแต่นี่เป็นโรงมหรสพภายในเป็นมหรสพสีขาวสีใสที่สูงส่งเรามองไปเดี๋ยวเราก็จะเห็นดวงนั้นขยายแล้วก็เดี๋ยวจะเข้าถึงดวงศีลดวงสมาธิดวงปัญญาดวงวิมุตติแล้วก็ดวงวิมุตติญาณทัศนะดวงธรรมต่างๆก็จะพุทธผ่านมาทำให้เราเข้าถึงกายในกายที่มีอยู่ดั้งเดิมไม่มีใครไปทำให้มาเราไม่ได้ทำให้เกิดขึ้นมาเป็นกายอยู่ดั้งเดิมใจมันก็จะใสบริสุทธิ์เพิ่มขึ้นยิ่งใสยิ่งบริสุทธิ์ยิ่งสะอาดก็ยิ่งมีความสุขที่กว้างขวางขึ้นไปเรื่อยๆเพราะฉะนั้นเราก็จะเป็นมนุษย์มหัศจรรย์เมื่อใจเราหยุดนิ่งสนิทติดตรงกลางกายเห็นดวงใสๆเห็นพระใสๆเห็นแสงสว่างภายในนะจ๊ะเวลาที่เหลือต่อจากนี้ไปอากาศกำลังเป็นใจกำลังสดชื่นเบิกบานให้ลูกทุกคนหยุดใจนิ่งนุ่มละมุนละไมกันต่อไปให้ลูกทุกคนสมหวังดังใจในการเข้าถึงพระรัตนตรัยในตัวทุกๆคนนะจ๊ะต่างคนต่างทำกันไปเงียบๆ
When one gets through his meditation, he can see clearly that meditations keep us from recklessness. In other words, we learn to possess the carefulness that leads to morality.
Children or teens also can be taught to meditate to increase their spiritual immunity against misconduct through physical, verbal, and mental channels.
In the following episode of Meditation for Peace, Bob Mawson, known as the medical miracle who used meditation to fight death 6 times in his life, will show our teens how to use meditation to cope with their problems in life. So please stay tuned.
It's rather like playing tennis. You have to practice playing tennis till you can really play well. You have to a teacher. There has to be training. You have to practice and practice and practice. But when you're able to play tennis and play against somebody in a match, that's a wonderful feeling, right? And you only need to watch TV and see a famous tennis player when he hits that last ball, and that's the ball that wins that game. You'll go, yes! Because he's got a beautiful feeling at that moment. And it's the same with the meditation. You may not jump up and say yes like that. You won't do that, in fact. But at least when you come out of the meditation, you'll have this beautiful feeling that is very difficult to describe to anyone else who's never practiced themselves.
It's like inner strength?
It's an inner strength, and it's not only an inner strength, but it's an inner beauty, it's an inner peace, and difficult, very difficult to describe. But anyone who wants to try can try it, and they can find out for themselves just what it feels like.
So you think, so what I'm getting here is that when we do practice meditation, it's probably a good idea not to try and detail the experiences that we have while meditating, but rather recommend other people to try it for themselves and find out how they like it.
Absolutely. And I think that, well, not what I think, I know that lots of Westerners try and analyze what's going on when they meditate. And using the middle way meditation, you can't analyze this. Westerners try and analyze it to death. And I'll be honest with you, I actually know university professors who I have taught to meditate, and they have set up computers, many different computers, and put in all different kind of programs to find out why this happens and why that happens using middle way meditation. And I can tell you, they can set up hundreds or thousands of computers with every configuration imaginable to man, and they will never ever find what they're looking for. The only way to find out what middle way meditation is all about is to just do it. You have to practice, and with the practice comes these wonderful experiences that I've been talking about. Does that make sense?
It does, it does. I think you have to keep an open mind about it. And
Absolutely, and that's good. You keep an open mind, and don't knock it. It's like food, and if you never tasted something, and you turn around and say, "I don't like that because I've never tasted it," it's a pretty stupid statement.
yes,
you know?
yes.
And and meditation.
Even though that is a stupid statement that many people make it's common for people to not want to try things that they've never tried before because they think it tastes bad.
Right.
I think it's difficult to overcome the social stigma, but I think the benefits definitely outweigh whatever weird looks you get if someone finds out you meditate. So.
And what I discovered too is often when people meditate, other people see something in them that they haven't seen before, and it draws them to them a bit like a magnet, you know, and it's very subtle. So they may not say anything to you, but they're looking at you in a different way than they did before. And inside of them, there's something telling them, wow, I wish I could be like that. And I'm going to give you an analogy of that. I recently met someone who is very, very wealthy. And he said to me, I may have a lot of money, but I wish I could be as happy as you. I may have a lot of money, but I wish I could be as happy as you. In fact, he said, I would give all my money away if I could only be as happy as you. That's pretty powerful. So this person obviously saw something in me that he wanted. He wanted that happiness, and he was willing to pay a lot of money to have that happiness. However, the problem is that you can't buy that kind of happiness with money. I have only found myself that happiness through using this middle way meditation. That middle way meditation has brought me happiness. And you're looking at and talking with a man who was a former British soldier, a nuclear weapons specialist, an expert in small arms, very disciplined man, real hard soldier type. And yet today, I'm teaching people meditation, and they're finding this inner peace, they're finding that love for others. that they've never experienced before. And I found all those things myself in and through this middle way meditation.
I think it's, from what you're saying, I think it's definitely very appropriate for teenagers to at least try to start to meditate, even if they can't get to any respectable level of meditation. I think that the very act of trying is going to give them a better quality of life. Don't you agree?
I agree entirely. And the thing is, with the middle way meditation, one shouldn't be trying to attain a certain level or anything like that. The middle way meditation is all about just relaxing, just imagining your body is totally empty, and placing your mind then at the center of your body. This center of the body, just a couple of finger widths above the navel, is a very, very powerful place, in fact. And when you're able to bring your mind and your thoughts there and just let them relax there very softly and gently, it's just, to be honest, it's just an amazing experience. And when you eventually open your eyes after that meditation, you just feel so good and so calm. And often people can see it in your face. And I remember the first time I came to this temple about 14 years ago now and meditated, that people actually saw in my face that I had some wonderful experiences. And they all gathered around me and said, "Wow, you should see your face. You look totally different than you did this morning." So,
Interesting. Very interesting.
Joy, do you have a question?
Yeah, I think for me personally, teenage years have been all about keeping meditation, but also balancing it out with becoming a teenager, finding my inner self, and still having fun, having social, kind of like parties and get-togethers and stuff. And the middle way meditation is like the middle path between those two, that you still meditate and keep your morals, but then you still have fun. And I think for a teenager anywhere, that's a huge issue.
Yeah. You mean it's an issue because you don't know how to do that?
Exactly.
Or yeah.
Many teenagers don't know how to meditate, or they're looking for that peace, for that ability to be able to come home from school and recharge your batteries and then go out again.
Right,
And many people
right.
are quite lost, I think.
It's like preservation, not only of
Yeah.
the self, but of your morality and your what you are as a human being is about,
Sure.
supporting that to withstand the life. People. I mean, life's pretty hard, actually. It's not, we get through it just fine, but it's quite often extremely challenging. So.
There's huge ups and downs, and what
Yeah.
meditation helps to do is kind of just cross that stable line of up and down.
It does. And of course, meditators, no one's saying that in the real world that one should practice the middle way meditation and not have fun and not laugh and not smile again and be so serious, because that's not what we're trying to do when we teach this form of meditation. We teach it, and I teach it, just so that people can find that inner peace, so that they can enrich their own lives, and they can, as I mentioned earlier, look out and see solutions to problems. Because one has problems as a teenager, and as a teenager you're just looking forward to the day that when you become 21 years old, and you'll be so grown up and you'll be so free and life will be so totally different. And when you're 21 years old, you might still be going to university for the next year, and then after that you're 22 and you finish the university, and now you have to go looking for a job. And now it's putting CVs together and all this other pressure, and then you go for an interview and you've got to dress well for the interview, you have to rehearse the interview in your mind, what's the interviewer going to ask you, all this pressure, and you start to say to yourself, "Oh, I wish I was a teenager again, back at school. This is terrible." And then you get the job, which is quite exciting in the beginning, but then you have to drive in all that traffic every day. You have to get up early in the morning, and then you have to find a place to park the car. And if you live in Europe or America, there's the winter months, and you have to drive through the snow, and snowstorms and rainstorms, and all kind of things happen. And then there's a boss wanting this done yesterday, and there's deadlines to make, and life as a grown-up was not as great as you thought it was.
Yeah.
So it's at these times, actually, if you're able to meditate, you will be able to handle this stress much better than a person who's never meditated before, that's for sure. And if you meditate, will you never become angry? No, you might become angry,
Yeah.
but...
Just less.
Pardon me?
Just less.
It may be less, or it may be anger that's just comes up, but you're able to handle it in a different way than you ever did before. Often people say to me, can you feel pain? Well, you know, if I kick the person in the knee who's asking the question, they would feel pain. Wouldn't you agree? Of course. And if they kick me in the knee, I would feel pain too, because I'm human. So meditation does not just take away pain, but it allows us often, and I've experienced this myself, to deal with that pain in a different way than one would deal with it if one had never been able to meditate or had never meditated, especially using the middle way meditation method.
So, just to clarify on the effect on the emotional state that middle way meditation has on people, I just, and correct me if I'm wrong here by stating this, it's my understanding that middle way meditation, it doesn't devoid your life of emotions. It helps you as a person control them and not let them control you.
That's right.
Is that right?
That's right. That's eventually what happens. And you're able to stand back, if you like, from those emotions and have a look at them and just see yourself, what they're doing to you. And often those emotions are destroying you in some way, shape, or form. And
well, they're certainly distracting, if nothing
oh, no,
else.
yeah, right. There are distractions.
And especially for us as teenagers, we have to be able to keep absolute perfect focus in everything we do, or we waste time. And at our age, when you waste time, it's like,
It has a huge effect
you
on
know,
the future.
right?
It's a
You know, it's
domino
like
effect.
every second of effort that we put in now is an investment in our future.
That's right.
So if we waste the time, then we've just, with the time that we've wasted is exponentially greater than what we've lost in whatever our future may be. So,
Right. So spending just a few minutes each day in the morning and in the evening meditating, using middle way meditation, that can help bring you into that focused state so that you don't waste time, so that you see the things that are important and you do those first. And those other things that are not quite so important, you put those on the back burner, as it were. And certainly middle way meditation can help you do that.
gives you an understanding of the priorities.
It certainly does, yes, absolutely.
I think
Yeah.
that's very applicable for teenagers and for anyone.
It's absolutely useful.
Yes,
in daily life
that's a
itself.
life skill that
Yeah.
that most people have to learn somehow, and maybe does meditation offer a faster way to understand one's priorities in life than you think if we just went through blind learning by trial and error?
Oh, I think so, and that's why I mentioned to you earlier that I only wish that I'd known how to meditate when I was a teenager, because it affects the rest of your life. It's not something that you do if you practice. It's not something that you do and then you just forget about that, because once you practice this middle way meditation for some time, it remains with you. And you can go to it. You can go to that place at the center of your body where there is this quiet, peaceful place. You can go there in any situation very, very quickly. And you're looking at a man who's had a double heart valve replacement, had a defibrillator implanted, and 6 years ago had a heart transplant, and got a 23-year-old female heart. A year ago had a cornea transplant, got a 23-year-old cornea, 23-year-old female cornea. who had 17 hours of surgery to put metal rods in my back. Tremendous amounts of pain, huge challenges. I've been defibrillated back to life 6 times already. Huge, huge challenges. And I don't believe, honestly, that I could have gotten through those in the way that I have and continue smiling in the way that I do had I not been able to use this beautiful method of middle way meditation. So if it works for me, I know for a fact it will work for you too.
Definitely, I agree.
And you may have some of your teenage friends look at you a little odd if they see you sitting there in a chair or sitting on the floor in a half lotus position meditating, and they may come and ask you, what are you doing? And they may ask you too, what happens to you when you do that? They may be curious enough to say, what takes place when you're meditating? Or how do you do that? And you might just say, well, would you like to try? And sit in with me and I'll guide you through this. And I'll be making some new CDs, meditation CDs, when I'm here this time. And I'll make sure that you get a set. And then you can always share those and perhaps get a little meditation group going together in your school.
We should do
We
that.
should try
Just
that.
an activity.
And
After school, yeah.
you never know that in the end you could bring a whole team of people out here to the temple and to Wat Patamagai, and that whole team of people might just want to come out here and learn to meditate even more.
Enjoy that.
They'll enjoy that.
I would.
Because the more people you are, the more energy you have to actually go through
Absolutely,
with it.
yeah.
And the atmosphere is so much more, like, happier.
Yes, if you do it on your own, it can be a little bit lonely, maybe. You know, I just.
Well, I wouldn't even say that. In fact, when you do it on your own, it's also very beautiful. And when you share it with others, that beauty just grows exponentially.
Yeah.
You know. So if you never know, it's a thought, and you guys might be pioneers and for peace, and eventually bring a whole bunch of different people from different parts of the world into a position where they can carry on and learn the middle way method of meditation and get the joy and happiness and inner peace that. I'd like to thank you all for watching our program, Meditation for Teenagers. And if you'd like more information about how to practice the middle way meditation method, you can go to www.meditationthai.org, and there you will find lots of information. And you can actually navigate that website and get even more information to send you on your way to inner peace. Thank you very much.
We hope the interview inspires our young viewers to embark on meditation.
Throughout time, it has been a great challenge to develop human beings to resist the temptations to do bad things and to do good wholeheartedly without any expectation of rewards or recognition. But at Wat Patamagai, Pathum Thani, Thailand, and its centers around the world, we found the success of the most venerable Luang Por Tamashayo in doing so.
Perhaps Chana want to share something with us. Well, let me guess, is it about recent training of the women called Ubasika Gal?
Well, yes, it is. The training was completed on the 15th of March, but the memory remains fresh in my mind, just like everyone else's.
Mm-hmm.
I was actually here for the first day only because I had to work for the rest of the time.
But what did you get from there?
The first day was March 8th, and coincidentally, that was also my birthday.
Oh, yes.
So it was great for me to be able to come to the temple and be joined by many lay women with the same desire to purify themselves.
I think almost 100,000.
Yes, it was a very beautiful picture to see all in white, all spread across the hall.
Amazing. Thank you very much for sharing this wonderful story with us now. Shall we move on to listen to the Venerable Sander Kemathamo talks on meditation and science? I'm sure our audience will be astonished to hear. See you after this.
But it's interesting to see that meditation actually does have a lot of scientific evidence. Meditation has been given a lot of interest and more and more interest by scientists. And recently a lot of research has been done on science, on meditation. They have found evidence that meditation thickens parts of the brain. So all of this is not saying that the brain and the mind are the same. But some things that happen to the mind we can see, we can witness when we look at how the brain acts. Because the brain is like the office of the mind. If we know that the brain is changing, then that may very well indicate that the mind is also changing. So they found evidence that there are certain parts of the brain that are thickened, that are related to sensory, auditory and visual perception, as well as internal perception. Moreover, EEG recordings, that is recordings of the working of the brain waves, they show a significant rise in gamma wave activity, which indicates an ability to put the brain into a state in which it is maximally sensitive and yet consumes zero power. It's very sensitive. It can learn things easily, it can understand things easily, it can cognize objects easily, and yet consumes zero power. That means it's working optimally, that's working very well, but without using energy. If we would have a machine, if we would have some sort of applicants in our household, we had some sort of machine in our household that uses very little energy and yet works perfectly, we would like to buy that thing, right? Now that is what the brain is when we practice meditation. It's the best tool. It increases our working memory capacity as well, meditation. So there are many things that they found that meditation is helping with. Now, on a similar topic, let's take a look at this video that was made on the impact of meditation on the brain. There's a small introduction here which you might have to look at for a while, and after that it will talk about the brainwave patterns that occur when someone meditates.
Tonight, how you can change your brain and how the discovery of the brain's amazing ability to rewire itself is giving researchers new hope for treating disease and for improving life as we age. It's called neuroplasticity. Simply put, it's the brain's never-ending ability to change.
It is without doubt the last frontier.
We'll visit Nobel Prize winner Dr. Eric Kandel, who discovered how the brain changes to store memories.
To understand how you work, to understand how the inner parts of your psyche operate, it's fantastic.
We'll show you stroke patients learning to use disabled limbs by retraining their brains.
The brain is not as stiff as you think it is. There is room for pushing it around a bit, so things will improve.
We'll learn about brain fitness programs that may make aging a whole lot easier.
People spend more time at the gym or exercising. They're forgetting that one of the most important parts is your brain that you need to exercise.
And most astonishing of all, we'll show you how the discovery of neuroplasticity is unraveling the connection between the brain and the mind with the help of Buddhist monks and the Dalai Lama himself. Good evening from Dharamsala, India, home to one of the world's most revered spiritual and philosophical leaders, His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama. Many people come here for pilgrimages and spiritual quests, but we are here to explore a whole new world of science. It's called neuroplasticity, and it's the study of what we now know to be the brain's extraordinary ability to change, to grow, and to even rewire itself. And we're also here because the Dalai Lama and the Buddhist monks and lamas who devote themselves rigorously to meditation training now find themselves on the forefront of advanced research to find the connection between the mind and the brain. They are the keepers of the ancient but still evolving practice of Tibetan Buddhism. They begin as small children, memorizing and training their minds for a lifetime of devotion. Looking inward becomes a way of life, and meditation is one tool in their quest for enlightenment. And now this 2,500-year-old practice is offering modern neuroscience a path to understanding how our brains can change throughout life. It's a phenomenon called neuroplasticity, and it's turned brain science on its head.
So the first thing I'm going to do is measure your head.
33-year-old Yongey Mingyur Rinpoche, an esteemed teacher of Tibetan Buddhism, is on his third visit to the University of Wisconsin's Weizmann Laboratory for Brain Imaging and Behavior.
We're going to go one by one to make sure each one of these sensors is placed properly on your head, Rinpoche.
For the past 5 years, Buddhist monks with tens of thousands of hours of meditation training have volunteered their brains for scientific study.
Spending time with them is very inspiring because they are always very happy, very funny also. That produce some oscillation in your brain.
Neuroscientist Antoine Lutz is part of a team of researchers trying to understand how the monks' mental training changes the brain.
We think that someone who is trained to practice compassion, they're somehow going to change their brain through this practice. So we are interested to see how far can you transform your mind and how far that the brain can change.
Seeing how physical training or experience altered brain circuits, the team at the University of Wisconsin wanted to know if mental training like meditation could change a region in the brain that manages emotions.
We think that what meditation does is training this region to react differently.
Next we're going to do another block of compassion meditation.
On this visit to the lab, Lutz asked Mingyur Rinpoche to use his powers of concentration and attention to focus on compassion, a traditional Buddhist meditation practice. This gives the scientists a glimpse into the inner workings of a brain that has been trained to enter intense emotional states.
So what you see here is the EEG across 20 seconds when Mingyur Rinpoche was just staying at rest, doing nothing and, normal states. At this particular moment, we ask him to start to meditate on compassion. And what you see is that there is a very strong increase in the speed of the oscillations while he starts to meditate.
What Mingyur Rinpoche's brain is doing is called gamma activity. All brains do it, but very rarely at this level.
Okay, Rinpoche, that's the end of that block.
The fact that the monks' brains remain in this state, even after they stop meditating, is an example of neuroplastic change.
That's for us is an indication that through the training, something happened in the brain and something had changed in such a way that they can generate these very, very integrative and coherent states during meditation.
This transformation of brain activity equals what the monks describe as a state of clarity and intense compassion for other beings.
It is our hope that by collaborating with experts like Mingyur Rinpoche, we can maybe better understand what is consciousness in relation to the brain.
There's many parallels between the modern science and Buddhism view.
For Mingyur Rinpoche, collaborating with Lutz has shown him how his thinking, his meditation practice, actually transforms the brain.
So the more you meditate, the more the amplitude increase.
More time, better.
Yeah.
If you apply meditation every day a little bit, then you change the habit of the brain function.
The brain changes in a kind of haphazard way, if you will, without that kind of systematic input or training.
Professor Richard Davidson is the director of the Weissman Center and the principal author of the meditation studies.
We are exposed to all kinds of influences in our environment all the time. Those influences are affecting our brain. They are changing our brain. If we are better able to regulate those inputs and to engage in specific kinds of training to cultivate positive qualities of mind, we can, I think, based upon modern neuroscience evidence, we can change our brains by transforming our minds in beneficial ways.
Davidson has published dozens of neuroscientific studies on emotional disorders and brain structure, but it was his personal interest in meditation that made him pursue a new line of research.
The brain is constantly changing. It's changing all the time. And the question is, how can we change it for the better?
To find out how emotions might be managed using the brain's plasticity, Davidson turned to one of the world's experts on training the mind, His Holiness, the 14th Dalai Lama. The Dalai Lama has a keen interest in science, and he regularly participates in meetings of the Mind and Life Institute. That's an organization founded to connect Western scientific research with Buddhist interests in mental training.
There's no reason why we couldn't use the exquisite precision of science which we've directed to studying states like fear and anxiety and bring them to study compassion.
Davidson began his ongoing conversations with the Dalai Lama 16 years ago.
It was at that meeting in 1992 that I made a commitment to him as well as to myself that I was going to now come out of the closet, so to speak, with my interests in meditation.
Hearing a scientist mention meditation matched the Dalai Lama's growing awareness of the discovery of neuroplasticity. With his lifelong curiosity about science and a Buddhist philosophy centered on training the mind, the Dalai Lama took notice of what was then this new science 20 years ago. He invited a group of scientists here to his home in exile to talk about it. From that first meeting grew a regular interchange between Buddhism and brain scientists.
We will be discussing neuroplasticity, which refers to the brain's capacity to change.
At a Mind and Life meeting at the Dalai Lama's home in Dharamsala in 2004, Davidson presented the paper that put meditation.
So this is showing the research findings that were done on Buddhist monks from Tibetan tradition. So no matter whether it's meditation practiced in Tibetan tradition or in Thai tradition, there are certain similarities that it has an effect on the brain. And also, meditation also not only affects the brain, also affects other parts of the body or the body as a whole. And that's why meditation is now more and more used in hospitals. Meditation has been proven to affect the treatment of cancer by relaxing the mind and helping the patients to accept their condition better. It has proven to create willpower in the patient. It has proven that when the patient, a cancer patient, is meditating, he's going to more actively plan his life. And even the actual regression of cancer by meditation, because of meditation, has been proven. Also, meditation has proven to help alleviate and release depression. By the way, if anyone would like to get evidence of any of these statements, I can give you references if you just contact me through this program. Also, AIDS patients have found to improve their immune system when they meditate, making their bodily system resist the virus better. So both cancer and both AIDS patients and both depression patients have found benefits, discovered benefits from meditation.
We hope this lecture presents some of the aspects of the Buddhist teaching. Even if the Lord Buddha's quest is essentially an inward quest, involving spiritual experience, it could be explained by the sciences.
Yes, and the Buddha never spoke of a single almighty God, but did consider certain things sacred in a religious sense, like the purity of the mind. Yes. In that sense, Buddhism is a religion, and the Lord Buddha was a religious teacher or a religious philosopher.
As a religious teacher, he is one of the most rational in outlook. It was Albert Einstein who says that if there is any religion that would cope with modern scientific needs, it would be Buddhism.
It is worth mentioning also that the relationship between the Buddha and his teaching is, however, not mutually dependent. One does not follow from the other. Even if one were to prove that the Buddha was not a historical figure, it does not follow that his teachings are invalid. The characteristics of human existence that he expounded and the path of purification that he formulated will still retain the same value.
The famous German scholar Oldenburg says it is not the Buddha who delivers men, but he teaches them to deliver themselves, even as he has delivered himself.
Yes, and it means that they accept his teachings of the truth not because it came from him, but because of personal conviction aroused by his words, rising from the light of their own spirits.
That's true. Now let's watch the enlightened life of the Dhammakaya people, who is guided by the teachings of the Lord Buddha, shown in the following video presentation. I believe you will find the show beautiful and inspiring.
อุบาสิกานับเป็นหนึ่งในพุทธบริษัทสี่ผู้อยู่ใกล้พระรัตนตรัยและมีศรัทธามั่นคงในการที่จะทำรงรักษาพระพุทธศาสนาให้คงอยู่คู่โลกสืบไปโครงการบวชอุบาสิกาแก้วหน่ออ่อน 100,000 คนจึงถือกำเนิดขึ้นเพื่อรวมพลังบริสุทธิ์ของสตรีในการทำความดีครั้งยิ่งใหญ่ในโครงการบวชอุบาสิกาแก้วหน่ออ่อน 100,000 คนในช่วงระหว่างวันที่ 8 ถึง 15 มีนาคม 2553 ณ ศูนย์อบรมกว่า 550 ศูนย์ทั่วประเทศไทยและศูนย์สาขาทั่วโลกผู้มีดวงใจอันสว่างไสวได้ลงพื้นที่ทำหน้าที่กันอย่างแข็งขันชักชวนสตรีจากทั่วผืนแผ่นดินไทยให้มารวมพลังเป็นหนึ่งเดียวกันสร้างความดีครั้งยิ่งใหญ่ในโครงการบวชอุบาสิกาแก้วหน่ออ่อน 100,000 คนตลอดช่วงระยะเวลาการอบรมเหล่าอุบาสิกาแก้วได้ตั้งใจฝึกฝนอบรมตนให้เป็นสตรีผู้ถึงพร้อมด้วยการรักษาศีล 8 การสวดมนต์และการเจริญสมาธิภาวนารวมทั้งเรียนรู้และฝึกฝนตนเองจากวัฒนธรรมชาวพุทธ นอกจากนี้อุบาสิกาแก้วยังได้รับความเมตตาจากพระอาจารย์นำธรรมะขององค์สมเด็จพระสัมมาสัมพุทธเจ้ามาเทศสอนให้เหล่าอุบาสิกาแก้วได้เกิดความเข้าใจถึงวิถีชาวพุทธคือการปฏิบัติตนเป็นพุทธศาสนิกชนที่สมบูรณ์ทั้งการทำทานการรักษาศีลและการเจริญสมาธิภาวนาเพื่อให้เหล่าอุบาสิกาแก้วได้น้อมนำธรรมะของพระพุทธองค์นี้เป็นหลักในการดำเนินชีวิตต่อไปและเมื่อวันพฤหัสบดีที่ 11 มีนาคม 2553 วันแห่งมหาปิติที่หมู่มวลมนุษย์และเทวดาต่างรอคอยได้มาถึงอุบาสิกาแก้วนับแสนคนจากกว่า 550 ศูนย์ทั่วประเทศไทยและศูนย์สาขาทั่วโลกได้เดินทางมารวมตัวกันณวัดพระธรรมกายเพื่อร่วมประกอบพิธีบวชอุบาสิกาแก้ววันนี้นับเป็นวันแห่งการรวมพลังครั้งประวัติศาสตร์ของยอดสตรีที่ได้ผ่านการฝึกฝนอบรมตนมาเป็นอย่างดีความพร้อมเพรียงของเหล่าอุบาสิกาแก้วนับแสนสะกดให้สายตาทุกคู่จับจ้องมองดูด้วยความชื่นชมและร่วมอนุโมทนาด้วยจิตใจที่เลื่อมใสสบายแก้วสีขาวบริสุทธิ์ดุจดังเกราะคุ้มกันของเหล่าอุบาสิกาแก้วให้ห่างไกลจากกิเลสอาสวะขณะที่กายภายนอกสวยด้วยผ้าสบายแก้วกายภายในก็สว่างสวยด้วยแสงธรรมและอีกหนึ่งช่วงเวลาแห่งความประทับใจที่เหล่าอุบาสิกาแก้วหน่ออ่อน 100,000 คนจะไม่มีวันลืมเลือนก็คือช่วงเวลาแห่งความสว่างไสวเมื่ออุบาสิกาแก้วกว่า100,000 คนได้มาสวดมนต์เจริญสมาธิภาวนาและจุดธรรมจาริณีประทีปร่วมกันณลานธรรมมหาธรรมกายเจดีย์ธรรมจาริณีประทีปทุกดวงถูกจุดขึ้นจากมือของสตรีผู้ถึงพร้อมด้วยศีลสมาธิและปัญญาสตรีผู้มีดวงใจที่สว่างไสวผู้มีศรัทธาคงมั่นในพระรัตนตรัยเป็นหน่อแก้วแห่งพระพุทธองค์ธรรมจาริณีประทีปนับแสนดวงที่ถูกจุดขึ้นพร้อมกันนี้ต่างโชนแสงเรืองรองขับไล่ความมืดมิดให้มาลายหายไปเป็นดังคำประกาศชัยของเหล่าอุบาสิกาแก้วให้หมู่มวลมนุษย์และเทวดาได้จารึกไว้ว่าอุบาสิกาแก้วหน่ออ่อน 100,000 คนนี้จะเป็นดังจักรชัยที่ขับเคลื่อนพระพุทธศาสนาให้มั่นคงสืบไปตราบนานเท่านาน
We have come to the end of our program and have to thank our viewers for your attention.
And our program also can be improved through your valuable suggestions and comments, so please write to us at worldwideweb.meditationforpeace.info. Goodbye for today. See you again next week. Have a great week. สวัสดีค่ะ
สวัสดีครับ